The Greek hero Hercules. The mere mention of his name for most people brings to mind a man with huge muscles, able to overcome anything with ease. And straight up, who wouldn't want his gifts? Who wouldn't want his life, right? Well, if that's what you think, then you don't know his full story and the real reason why he's revered throughout history as a hero. You see, Hercules wasn't born into an easy life. His father was a god, Zeus, but his mother was a mortal and not Zeus's wife, which, as you can imagine, led to a lot of issues with Zeus's wife, Hera, who would look upon Hercules and see him as living proof of Zeus's betrayal. Hence why she sent 2 snakes to assassinate him when he was a baby. Now, in the original Greek story, Hera would later have greater success driving him mad, which led to him committing terrible crimes. And as penance, he was forced to serve a lesser king who gave him 12 impossible labors: killing the Nemean lion, destroying the Hydra, cleaning the Aegean stables. These chores, these trials weren't meant to actually be completed. They were meant to humble him, to show him he wasn't capable, to actually break him. But instead, these incredibly difficult tasks, they forged him into the hero we remember today. And gentlemen, that's the first point I want to hit in today's video. Stop asking for a life on easy mode and embrace the hard. To become a sword, to become a weapon, you have to be forged under heat, under pressure, under the toil that every great man before you has endured. Because let's face it, if your goal is to avoid pain, you're going to become fragile. If your goal is to avoid criticism, you become dependent on approval. If you constantly try to avoid failure, you're avoiding the thing that can teach you the most. So instead of asking the question, why did this happen to me? Ask yourself, what kind of man do I need to become to handle this? Now, I want to be really clear. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know what you're currently going through. All I can tell you is what has worked for me. Because as a human being, having been on this planet for 50 years, I've gone through some tough stuff myself. As an adult, I've gone through a bankruptcy. As a kid, we lost our childhood home. I went to 5 different schools before the age of 10. My parents divorced when I was 5, and my dad pretty much abandoned us when I was 15. Serving in the Marine Corps, I lost friends to suicide, and within my own family, I lost my little sister to that same illness. Multiple businesses of mine have failed. But I'll tell you, throughout all of that, I am very thankful I never lost hope. Hope that things would get better. Hope that the pain and suffering would end, that I would make it through. So gents, whatever you're going through, I wish you strength, and know that you are not alone. And in fact, all the great people throughout history, all the people that you look up to, have probably gone through something similar. And so this is just proof that you are on the right path. And gents, really quick, we're talking about a bulletproof mindset today. But if you want to have a bulletproof mindset, you need to have confidence in your abilities. Confidence how you can perform, including performing in the bedroom. Gents, let's talk about ED, because the reality is it's not just an old guy problem. And that's why I'm sharing with you today's sponsor, Rugiet Ready. This is a 3-in-1 ED treatment that works in as little as 15 minutes and stays active for up to 36 hours. It combines the active ingredients in both major ED meds plus apomorphine, which helps prime your brain for arousal. So you're getting both the physical blood flow and the mental boost. And here's the thing, it's sublingual, so it dissolves under your tongue and hits your system faster than traditional pills. No waiting around wondering if it's gonna kick in. And getting started, gents, is simple. You fill out a quick medical questionnaire online, a licensed doctor reviews it within 24 to 48 hours, and if prescribed, it ships to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, you get unlimited follow-ups with your doctor to dial in what works best for you. So to get started, gents, head over to Rugiet, RUGIET.com/RMRS. I'm also putting that link down in the description, and when you use it, you get 15% off. So gents, don't be afraid to take your confidence back and get 15% off your first order. Use that link. Go check them out. Rugiet prescriptions are compounded medications available only if prescribed after an online consultation with a licensed clinician. Compounded drugs can be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and have not been reviewed by the FDA for safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing. Individual results may vary. Full safety information is available at Rugiet.com. So the next tip I want to share with you is to lead with action. Don't fall into the trap of analysis paralysis. You need momentum. You need a small action that leads to a bit of momentum, because it's the momentum that's going to power you through, that's going to motivate you, that's going to give you the strength to eventually carry on to greater things. Let's take exercise. A lot of us are not where we want to be when it comes to physical fitness, and it's easy here to feel overwhelmed, like you're way behind, like you're never going to get to where you want to be. Well, the answer to this is one push-up, 1 lap around the block, 1 pull-up. My point is, it all starts with that first step. Before you go out there and run 5 miles, you run 1 mile. I know, it's obvious, but we oftentimes get so caught up on the fact that we're so far behind that we don't give ourselves the grace to say, you know what, it's going to take a few months for me to get up to where I want to be. Let's say with push-ups. I had a buddy, he couldn't do more than 10 push-ups. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think he could even do 10, but he could do 1. And that was what he would start with. He would get on the ground, he would do the 1 push-up, 2, 3, 4, get maybe close to 10, but he kept at it. He was consistent, and that built his confidence. That built his momentum, which led to him losing the weight, getting in better shape, and eventually getting to his goal of hitting 100 push-ups in a row. And that leads us to the next point. Gamify your good habits. Track the proof that you are taking action to become your best self. What I mean by this is if you go to the gym, if you journal, if you write short stories on a website, if you send out motivational texts to your buddies, well, if you think about it, all of that is proof that you are taking steps, you're taking action to be the best you. And this is important because we've all got that voice in the back of our mind that's doubting, that's saying, you know, you're not who you think you are. You're not a great writer. Or even worse, how can you call yourself a writer? You're no athlete. Why do you even run? You're slow. You look funny. But here's the thing. You've got the facts. You've got proof that you did run. It's recorded right there on your Apple Watch. In fact, you've been tracking your running loops for months. You have a recorded history that you are writing, and it's very subjective whether it's good or not. My point here is that you are a writer by actually writing. You are a runner by actually running. And that naysayer who may be a family member, well, guess what? You can dismiss their opinion because you are taking steps in the direction of becoming your best self. And speaking of other people, here's how you can ignore bad advice. Always ask whenever somebody's giving you their opinion, their thoughts, their unsolicited advice here. Ask, would I pay for this advice? Now, there are people in your life who you probably should care what they are thinking. Your partner, your family, maybe some close friends. But the reality is so many of us have taken business advice from people that have never started a business, money advice from people that are broke, relationship advice from people that are not in a relationship, never have been in a good one. Yeah, you've got to be careful in today's day and age in which everyone has a platform. You have to make the decision of what information you're going to accept. And just because your uncle has great real estate advice doesn't mean that he can lecture you or you should listen to him when he's talking about, you know, the girl you're dating and what's going on here. That being said, if he has been married 5 times and divorced 5, there may be some wisdom there. But yeah, you got to be selective. Look at it like a diet. In the same way that you're watching the food that you eat, watch the information that's coming in to your ears and eyes. Now let's talk about the way that you speak to yourself. So many people out there, they self-depreciate to a fault. They're always saying things like, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I can't believe I did it again. I can't control myself, I can't control my temper. And then every time you say it, you're reinforcing a belief that in many instances isn't true. Because yeah, 1 out of 4 times you may not be good with your money, but you know what? 3 out of 4 times you are. So you can increase that percentage from 75% to 95%. Gents, never talk down to yourself. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. Take ownership of it. But understand, there's enough people out there in the world that will throw shit on others. You don't need to do it to yourself. Next up, you need to swing like Babe Ruth. You need to shoot like Michael Jordan. Now, if you're a baseball fan, you know the number 714. That was the number of home runs that Babe Ruth hit, and that record stood for decades. But the other number that goes with that you may not know is 1,330. This is the number of strikeouts that Babe Ruth had. Seriously, people would go to watch his games, and he would strike out twice as often as he would hit a home run. And again, he's considered one of the greatest sluggers of all time. The lesson there is failure is part of the process. So when you try something, expect that the majority of the time it's not going to work. Because when you go into things like that, knowing that there is a smaller chance it's going to succeed than probably work out, well, guess what? Your expectations are tempered, and you realize that a lot of success in life is just simply showing up and swinging and realizing that you only need to hit the ball a small percentage of the time to end up in the Hall of Fame. And by the way, Michael Jordan had over 9,000 missed shots. He had 26 missed game-winning shots. He did hit 28 though. And again, with these numbers, these guys are considered the best athletes of all time. So if you're hitting a 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, guys, that's still pretty damn good, right? So the next step to developing an unstoppable mindset, choose the hard. Now, personally, I don't know when I picked up this philosophy. I will tell you, I was a weird teen. I was reading Stoicism and history books way before it was cool. But I know a habit that has served me well is oftentimes looking at my choices, looking at my options, and thinking which one is going to be the hardest and choosing that. I mean, Robert Frost talked about this in The Road Less Taken, but I remember in college, deciding, I'm not going to go to medical school. That's not what I want. So I decided to join the military. I was in great shape, a junior in college. I had quite a few options: the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, the Coast Guard. But what did I choose? I chose the Marine Corps. Yeah, I remember specifically talking to the recruiters and saying, you want to be a Marine officer? It is tough. I'm not sure you've got what it takes. And maybe it was that reverse psychology, but I'm like, yeah, I do have what it takes, and I'm going to prove it. Now, gents, I'm not a recruiter. I'm not saying go join the military, but what I am saying is early on in your day, choose to do something that is difficult. For a lot of guys, it's getting that workout in. First thing, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Other guys, maybe taking a cold shower. When you go into the office, you go into work, you get the hard stuff done right there at the beginning. The thing that you don't want to do, it's the whole reason it's called work, but you address it right there. You don't procrastinate. By taking on the difficult right out the gate, you have proof that comfort is not your king. And you'll find that by stepping into the uncomfortable willingly, the hard things that life will throw at you eventually that are beyond your control, you will be more apt, you will be more able to take them on. Now, the next skill that I've picked up, it's helped me a lot to develop, I think, a very strong mindset, is to slow down, especially when the shit hits the fan, when everyone else is losing their head. You maintain yours just by doing nothing for a couple seconds. Slow down, breathe. Now, if you're a first responder, you have training that helps to put you in. This was something that we picked up in the military. I know anyone that has served as a first responder, training will kick in. But I think for most of us in most situations, it's just simply not panicking, and it's not reacting with emotions and doing something that we can't take back. Example, you're having a heated exchange with someone you care about, and they say something which is just incredibly painful, is out of character, and honestly hurts you. So what are you going to do? Are you going to hit it and throw it right back? Well, the honest answer is we've all probably done that. And what happens? You regret it. But here's the interesting thing about a conversation like that, especially an emotionally charged one, is if you just don't say anything, if you don't respond for a couple seconds, that person, they want to take it back. And I saw a great thing. A guy was talking about how conversations are like you're throwing a ball back and forth. You can choose not to even catch the ball. They can lob that insult at you. And guess what? You can just watch it hit the ground. And 5 seconds later, you can say, do you really mean that? I know in my life, there are very few instances whenever somebody says something that they didn't mean to say that 5 seconds later, they didn't want to take back. And I'm not saying that you got to call them out like that, but I am saying that you can learn to control yourself. One thing that I have started doing, it doesn't happen very often, but I will remove myself from the conversation. I will simply choose not to respond. And I'll let them know, hey, no, I'm not going to say anything right now. And I walk out. Because, gents, the reality is anger is not strength. Control is strength. And you can do that by simply pulling yourself out, not being reactionary, and leveraging the power of just that 5-second pause. Now, earlier we talked about negative self-talk, but let's talk about complaining. You hear this all the time, and it's an easy habit to fall into. I find that if you're going to complain, you need to have a counterattack to it. And what I mean by that is if you're talking to a buddy and you find yourself saying, I hate my job, then what you need to say with that, and tonight I'm going to apply to 3 other companies. I hate that we've let processed food into our house and that we're eating this crap, so I'm going to go through tonight and throw away some of this junk food. I hate the fact that I've been so busy, I haven't worked out for 2 weeks, so you know what? I'm going to do a set of 10 air squats and some push-ups. Now, is that micro workout going to have you lose 10 pounds? No. But you know what it's going to do? It's going to change your habit. But changing that small habit of when you complain, having to have a counterattack, having to have an action that you're going to take out of this, that right there, those small actions compounded over time can lead to a huge return. Now, this next tip is going to make some of you guys uncomfortable, but you need to audit your circle of influence, aka the people you surround yourself with. If you want to level up your mindset, you want to try to surround yourself with people that inspire you. And I'm not saying you got to find the perfect people, but you need to find people who are strong in ways perhaps that you are not. If you want to get in better shape, find a workout buddy that's already going to the gym at 5 a.m., at 6 a.m. Maybe you're going to have to hire a trainer, but by doing that, you can learn from them. You can, through osmosis, get that mindset for yourself. When it comes to personal discipline, maybe you want to stop drinking, maybe you want to stop the drugs. So you surround yourself with people who don't do that, who don't tolerate that stuff in their life. If you're in college and you want to improve your grades, Seek out the people that are already doing well in school. Look to join their study group. But if they don't let you in, bribe them. Be the guy that's going to bring the food, bring the snacks, but find a way to put yourself in circles of people that you admire a certain area of their life so that you can learn from them the mindset that they have to be able to achieve the success they've already reached. Now, this next lesson I think is really powerful. I've been using it a lot lately, and it's one that I find really helps to clear the path whenever you have a lot of choices in front of you. You're not sure what to do. You're like, this thing is going to make me more money, but this is what I want to do for my career. This is what I need to do for my family. And you're trying to make a decision. How do you make the choice here? You've got conflicting advice coming from different people, many of whom you care, you respect about. At the end of the day, you need to remember the person that you need to impress, the person that you really should care about what they're going to say about you. Well, believe it or not, that person isn't your spouse, that person isn't your kids, that person isn't your parents, that person isn't your best friend. That person is you, specifically your future self. Because there's no one else who is more aligned with seeing you succeed than your future self. So I know for me, when I'm thinking, I've got to make a difficult decision, I'm asking, hey, 10 years from now, that future self, that 60-year-old Antonio, he's looking back on me right now. What is he going to think about this choice? I'll tell you, running it through that lens makes it really easy to choose the right thing, to make the right decision. And from the outside, people just think you have a really strong mindset. No, you're living your life, I think, according to some systems and rules that are timeless, that have worked for thousands and thousands of men before you. And yeah, I'm sure I missed a whole lot of stuff, so let me know down in the comments what you would add to this video to make it better. And if you enjoyed this video, boom, keep going. I got another video for you right here. Oh yeah, go check it out.